going on, everybody? Dog Ben Dan here. We are in Firefall, and we are going to talk about the latest dev blog that was posted. It's called Looking Forward Itemization, and I'm going to try to cover it all in here. I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I'm reading and understanding. Please do feel free to comment anytime below, or if you have questions or anything like that, please do leave them below. I don't know all the answers, but I'm willing to try to find them out. You know, this is going to be a crapshoot, just like everything else, but it looks, from what I've already read so far, it looks to be pretty good stuff. Some stuff that we would like to have seen a while back, which now is pretty much going to revamp everything. So let's get busy. Let's talk about it. I'll also have a link probably in the description, which takes you back to the actual blog page. But for now, I will try to cover it all and give you my thoughts. So we are going to cover BattleFrame cores, new primary equipment slots, secondary equipment slots, auxiliary weapon changes, equipment statistic bonuses, equipment rarities, that type of stuff in here. Any images I throw up on the screen that are not part of the actual gameplay that you're seeing right now are all preliminary work in progress images. If I throw any prototype things up there, okay, so just take them with a grain of salt. They're just preliminary, and everything is subject to change in that respect. Alright, sit back, enjoy, and let's get busy. So basically, we're going to start off with BattleFrame cores and primary equipment slots. Okay, one of the largest challenges, you know, that we currently have now is trying to figure out which is the best BattleFrame core, which is going to give us the most health, you know, potential, that type of stuff, over movement speed versus something else, that type of thing. So this is going to really be a big change what they're looking at here. Moving forward, BattleFrame cores themselves are actually going to be replaced with 5 new primary equipment slots. So we're really going to get very unique now in terms of equipping ourselves up. We're going to have slots for head, torso, arms, legs, and a reactor. Sorry. The head, torso, arm, and leg equipment will contribute to the BattleFrame's total health, while the reactor will provide a large bonus to power rating. Okay. In addition to the primary stats, each of the uncommon or better rarity will include bonus stats set by a prefix. And we're familiar with prefixes now, you know, where you set up weapons or you set up abilities, put prefixes in there to get better advantages. So that's not going to change from what I'm reading. We're going to have that in the new gear as well. This grants the opportunity to choose desired bonus stats, basically, and build to make it easier to maintain competitive health. You know, maximum pool, health split across multiple items, so you can upgrade more regularly. Some of the examples, okay, maybe various headgear, so Accord headgear, Ahlström headgear, you know, Omnidyne chassis, Accord chassis, Kisutan reactors, Omnidyne arm gear, that type of thing. So we'll see a whole bunch of stuff, leg gear, in there based off the different types. So we'll really be able to get some customization in there, I think. And I kind of look forward to that. That's better than the way the BattleFrame cores are now. So really, I think they're a little bit on the outdated side. So more customization is always cool. Okay, so now we're going to talk secondary equipment slots. So along with the changes being made in those BattleFrame cores, we're going to have 4 secondary equipment slots which will be added. We're going to have, for the OS, the medical system, and 2 gadget slots. The OS I refer to as operating system. Okay, and each of these pieces of equipment will have unique effects on personal gameplay styles and grant different conveniences that we don't currently have right now. So the first and foremost one will be the OS, the operating system, which is going to carry effects of a user's abilities across the board. Okay, so for example, if a player has an operating system that affects a cooldown, then all the player's abilities will receive that cooldown reduction granted by the operating system. So no longer do I have to put a new cooldown module on every single one. This operating system is going to allow me to get that extra cooldown across the board, which could allow me to have some more control and minimize other weaknesses or get some other strength into abilities. The medical system is a reusable piece of equipment that controls how strong a player's passive health regeneration is. Okay, it's also going to have a hotkey that's going to provide burst health to the player, so that's kind of cool. You'll get a burst health if you need it. The new medical equipment slot will replace the need for players to carry, let's say, huge amounts of crafted health packs if you carry them. I don't ever use them myself personally, but I could see that. Medical system can contain benefits such as reduced medical system recharge times, increased heal strength, bonus shielding, temporarily increased defenses, anything like that could be in there, which is kind of cool to see that may be maybe the way they go with the health. So far I'm liking the operating system across the board effect, a medical system with your healing and regeneration, if you will, which sounds pretty good. Okay, so gadget slots. These are pretty unique. Gadget slots are going to have special effects that activate under certain circumstances. So kind of an innate effect that will activate based off of something that you trigger. You'll be able to equip 2 of these at once. Different effects such as spawning NPCs to defend a player, causing your jump jets to burn targets underneath, and so forth and so on. Gadgets have different equipment requirements for the activation, so you'd be able to, let's say, kill an enemy, score a headshot, activate your jump jets, reach a critical health state, something like that could activate these gadgets. As the gadgets are introduced into the game, some of the previously unique modules, such as Judgment, which I have a couple of those hardcore Judgment modules, will be deprecated in favor of adding the effect on the gadgets. This change will free up module slots, of course, for players and allow a player to pick up their modules to better fit their playstyle, which is kind of nice. Because I have a couple of them and I haven't really found a place that I want to put them, but now that will be pushed to the side to allow for these gadget modules. So an item like Judgment being deprecated means that the player that item equipped, specifically in Judgment's case, slotted in a weapon, can expect it to function as normal, but it will be unattainable as a module. Moving forward, to gain that effect, a player would need to equip a gadget that has the Judgment effect. So we're not going to really get rid of the Judgment, but we're going to have to equip a Judgment gadget that would make it work. Okay, I see what you're saying. That's going to be interesting. That'll probably be the toughest thing to figure out in terms of, what gadgets do I want to put on, what does one affect, what does this do, what does that do. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So next up, we're going to talk about auxiliary weapons. One of the long-standing desires expressed by the community is the ability to change their melee weapon or to focus more on melee-centered builds, okay, which we really cannot do at all this time. The best melee weapon right now is from the Nighthawk or the Recon, whatever that is, or Raptor, I don't remember what it is, but it's one of the perks that are in there. With that thought in mind, as well as the sentiment that some players prefer to keep their distance and want to avoid melee combat altogether, a third weapon slot for an auxiliary weapon is being introduced. Okay, auxiliary weapon slot will allow players the option of equipping either a melee weapon or reusable specialty grenade. Okay, the purpose of the auxiliary weapon slot is to allow players the choice between moving up and engaging in auxiliary and close range combat using melee weapons, or to stay back, toss grenades, enjoy ensuing chaos. This actually sounds really cool, adding that third slot and doing this. So let's talk about that a bit. Melee weapons themselves can be equipped in the auxiliary weapon slot, allowing players to customize their approach to melee combat. Without an auxiliary weapon equipped, a melee attack will be performed, strikes the opponents with an equipped primary or secondary weapon, kind of like you have it now. Okay, this is only available for auxiliary weapons are equipped and does low damage compared to having an auxiliary weapon equipped. So, since that didn't make any sense, basically the third slot is going to be for melee weapons or grenades. If you have a melee weapon equipped, it will use that. If you don't, it will use your primary or secondary weapon, but of course that's going to have lower damage compared to if you actually had one. So, first off, energy swords are weapons designed for fast melee strikes dealing damage in an arc, so we'll have the energy swords. It looks like we currently have an energy sword in there, but we're going to have battle hammers. They're going to perform slow attacks that that require wind-up time, but they have a higher damage and area of effect on them, so that'll be interesting. And then there'll also be special auxiliary weapons to be found in your Firefall adventures, as they put it, hardcore mode weapons. So you can check them out. So that's going to be kind of cool to see what they put in terms of hardcore mode auxiliary weapons. Grenades as well in here. This is the other equipable part to the auxiliary slots. So you have 5 different types of grenades that'll be available. You're going to have a fragmentation, which is an explosion that deals damage in an area. You have the incendiary, obviously, explosion that deals damage in an area. Targets hit by the explosion take additional damage over time, so it's kind of like fire damage over time. You'll have your freeze. The explosion deals a small amount of damage in an area and roots the enemies in place for a short duration, so that'll kind of stun freeze them, if you will. Chemical, of course, and the chemical explosion covers an acidic pool, damaging enemies that are caught in the pool, so a big area of effect of acid. Got it. And we have the Tesla, which creates the electric field that emits bolts of lightning, damaging nearby enemies each second. Enemies recently electrocuted by the field will deal reduced damage. So when they try to hit you back, they're going to have reduced damage back on you because they've already been electrocuted. So we have fragmentation, incendiary, freeze, chemical, Tesla. All sounds pretty good depending upon how you equip yourself and set it up. And it's also going to all play into the earlier roles, you know, your WARFRAME OS, your medical systems, all the stuff that you put in, really going to be able to customize your setup. Let's talk equipment statistic bonuses as I see it here. So along with these exciting new equipment slots, we're going to get bonus statistics that are applied to equipment pieces that you've received, and a few more variations, of course, will be added. So one of the most prominent changes made to equipment will be the ability to obtain weapon and ability stat modifiers on your gear. Upon equipping a piece of gear in the primary equipment slots, okay, your head, torso, arms, legs, your OS, that affects the ability cooldown, all equipped abilities will benefit from equipping this piece of gear. And we talk about that, okay? Along with these existing prefixes, there will also be stat bonuses from the corporation that manufactured the item. So what they're looking at right now is Accord. It's going to provide increased to weapon handling rating and reload speed. Omnidyne M will provide increase to maximum energy. Astrek is going to provide an increase to energy recharge rates. And Kisutan will provide an increase to maximum ammunition. So how you play, what you play is really going to play a role in this now, which is going to really allow us to take a lot of time to think about our setups. And that seems pretty cool. And then let's talk about equipment rarities. In updating the new customization or itemization scheme, the rarity of items has also been reviewed, is what they're saying. So certain cases caused items' rarity to blur together, if you will. Sorry about that, making it difficult to notice a discernible difference between equipment of varying rarities, except for the amount of module slots available. Okay, we knew that. We had white had no slots, green had 2 slots, blue and purple have 3 slots, basically as it stands right now. And we're gone with the extreme legendary stuff. So, in an effort to help players feel properly rewarded for their time invested and efforts placed into obtaining higher quality, the strength of weapon rating will be adjusted as follows. Common equipment will be equal strength to their item level. Uncommon equipment will be equal to an item level 5 levels above their current equipment level. Rare equipment will be equal to an item 10 levels above their item level. That's going to be the blue. And purple epics is what we have now. Equipment will be equal to 15 levels above their current item level. So if it's a level 40 common, it's going to be a level 40 common, or white. If it's a level 40 green, uncommon right now, it will act 5 levels above, so a level 45. If it's a rare or blue, it will be 10 levels above 40, so it'll be a level 50 piece of gear. Tier 3 gear, basically, as we call it now. And if it's a purple or an epic, is what we call it, the equipment will be 15 levels above. So if it's a level 40 purple equipment gear, it will actually be a level 55, right? 55? 55. So we had 5 levels for each, which is actually going to really distinguish a difference in how the stats come. So that's going to be pretty interesting how that plays out. I'm looking forward to seeing that difference, because you can right now run all tier 3 gear, which is what I'm doing, and I'm satisfied with it without having to run tier 4 gear, and I'm getting basically the same results, or close enough to that it doesn't really, force me to have to get that purple stuff. Now this is going to make a big difference in how the gear operates, making me want to go ahead and have all that purple stuff. So, we'll see how all that plays out. Anyway, there will be a link, like I said, to the topic that was posted, and they also have a link on that topic to their forum post if you want to discuss it. You can feel free to discuss it here as well. Happy to talk about it. If you have any comments or questions, please do leave them, of course. Thank you, as always, for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you guys next time. See you soon.